Hey, I'm Stuart, founder of DMARC Defender, and in this video we're going to cover how to set up DMARC, DKIM, and SPF with Apollo.io. Getting started. So when you create an Apollo account, it's going to ask you to link your inbox, and this can either be a Gmail, a Google Workspace account, or it can be a Microsoft 365 Outlook account. And so what happens is when you send emails through Apollo, you're actually sending it through your own inbox. So when we configure the email authentication protocols, really we need to make sure that they're properly configured to work with Google Workspace and Microsoft 365. And so I'm going to talk about how to verify and how to set those up. Apollo also has a feature called Manage Domains, I think, or it's a program where you can buy domains through their platform. And just scrolling this over so you can see it. If you do that, they're going to manage the SPF and DKIM and DMARC for you because they're buying the domain and managing it for you. They do allow you to type in a DMARC email. And so here we're going to talk about DMARC a little bit later, but it's here that you could configure it and put your own email address or a vendor email address if you want to receive reports about how much of the emails are passing SPF and DKIM, but you don't really need to because Apollo, since they are managing the domain for you, they should make sure that everything is set up correctly, but it is an easy way for you to kind of verify that Apollo is setting up the email authentication records. But again, that is only for if you buy domains through them. For the most part, you're going to be sending emails through your G Suite and your Microsoft 365 account, which is what we're going to talk about for the rest of this video. But I'm just letting you know that if you buy a domain through them, you can put a DMARC email in here, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But anyways, like I said, so you're sending emails through G Suite and Microsoft 365. And so really you need to make sure that your SPF and DKIM are configured with those providers. And you can verify to see if you're already set up correctly. So you can use the domain check tool. I'll put a link down below. So to see an example domain that uses Microsoft 365, we can do dmarcdemo.com. This is a domain I bought for the Microsoft 365 video. If we scroll down to SPF record, we can see that SPF is set up and it has the Microsoft logo here, and it's including SPF protection outlook.com. So SPF is configured with Microsoft for this domain. And if we scroll down to the DKIM selectors or the DKIM rectors, we can see that we have selector 1 and selector 2. And so we know that Microsoft is set up correctly. An example of a domain that uses G Suite is Casper.io, another company I own. We can see if we scroll down to the SPF record, I can make this bigger. The SPF record, we can see it's including Google here. We can see the little Google logo, so we know that SPF record is set up correctly. And if we go down to the DKIM records, we can see it's including the Google record. So we know that Google Workspace is set up correctly with this domain. And so that means when Apollo sends emails through either Google or Microsoft, it should be working correctly. Next, we need to make sure that DMARC is set up correctly. If you've already set up SPF and DKIM with either Google or Microsoft, most likely you have DMARC, but I'll cover it anyways. So for DMARC, again, you can use that domain check tool to see what DMARC record you have. And it'll tell you, you can see we have one here, p equals reject with a reporting address. If you don't, you can create a new record, which I'll show what that looks like in a second. And we're going to create a text record. The subdomain will be _DMARC. We have a couple of different options we can play with for the values and the TTL. And we can just set it to an hour. As for what we want our policy to be, the simplest policy we could use is v equals DMARC1, p equals none. If you do this, you're getting no enforcement, so nothing will be blocked. Like spammers can still spam your address and stuff, but at least you have a DMARC policy installed. The next level would be enabling reporting. So you're still going to have v equals DMARC1, policy equals none, but in this case, you will receive XML reports to whatever email address you specify here, and they'll let you know how much of the email is passing SPF, DKIM, and DMARC. This is super useful for debugging if you have deliverability issues in the future. I'd highly recommend to start collecting these. If you can create like a Google group or a Microsoft group and just send them there, so in the future when people need to look through the reports, you have them. And the last thing you can do, probably the most robust solution, is you can do v equals DMARC. Again, this is what it looks like if you have reject enabled. Only do this if you verified that all your services are properly authenticated. If you set p equals reject on and your services aren't configured correctly, that email will be blocked. But if you're able to get to p equals reject, it'll obviously block all the spammers and stuff too. And what you can do as for your reporting address is you can use a vendor such as DMARC Defender. And what we do is you use our email address here, and we're going to collect all those XML reports. We're going to analyze them, we're going to aggregate them, and then we're going to let you know if anything is misconfigured. And we set up alerts so that if anything is misconfigured in the future, we let you know. Or if you have like a sudden drop in deliverability, a bunch of emails going to spam, we let you know. To show what it looks like to add a DMARC record, I'm in the GoDaddy dashboard, just at the main dashboard page. I can go to domain. Then I can go to DNS. I can click on add new record, and
to create a DMARC record, we're going to create a text. The name is _DMARC, and then this is where we can put our DMARC policy. So it's v equals DMARC1, and we can do p equals none, and RUA is equal to mailto, and we can do steward at dmarcdefender.io, and then we'd click. We can go to TTL of 1 hour, and then we'd click save. Since I already have the DMARC record installed, I'm not going to install another one, but this is just what it looks like. Common checks, once we've done all that, we can go back to the domain check tool, and we can make sure everything's configured correctly. Basically what you've already seen. Again, we're just going to check and make sure you have a DMARC record. We're going to make sure that your SPF record includes either Google or Microsoft, and we're going to make sure that you have the DKIM keys with either Google or Microsoft. We can also verify within Apollo. So if you go to Home, Engage, Sequences, Diagnostics, so let's go to Home, Engage, Sequences, Diagnostics. They have a checker here. Unfortunately, I don't agree with what they're saying, but we can still cover it anyways. It says Apollo was unable to receive the email responses from your email provider fix. I'm a little bit confused about that, but if we click through, it's verifying the records, blah, 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 getting everything set up. We can see what DNS records they want to install, and they want to install a text record that says v equals SPF, include SPF protection outlook.com, which is exactly what we already have. So I'm a little bit confused why they want to overwrite the existing record. I'm guessing they're just pushing all the records at once, but a little bit strange. And then even stranger is they want to install a DMARC record with v equals DMARC1, p equals quarantine, and then they're specifying a lot of the default options that don't need to be specified, but they're there. Except they're also doing strict mode and failure reporting. So I don't think I would recommend installing this record. The biggest reason being that they're applying a quarantine policy without checking to make sure that you have all of your services configured correctly. Like I said, if anything is misconfigured, if someone accidentally deleted a record and you do this, your emails will be sent to spam. So I would highly recommend setting up reporting for a bit and verifying that your emails are passing authentication before moving to quarantine. So I would not recommend this, but you can also do it through this panel. Cool. In terms of issues I've seen, and if you do the fix for the DMARC, it gives you the exact same recommendations. So a little bit confused about their recommendations, but you can do that too at your own risk. Another common mistake I've seen when people install stuff is they will specify multiple DMARC and SPF records. Make sure you only have one DMARC record and one SPF record, otherwise things will not work. The domain check tool will check to see if you have multiple records, but a common mistake I see, people will install an extra SPF record thinking they don't already have one. Anyways, that's it. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment below. I'm always happy to help, and thanks for watching.